What's up, everybody? Woo! Hopefully that is not a sign of things to come. That was weird. During the intro, OBS disconnected and reconnected. I don't know what happened there. I also can see that OBS has updated. OBS is... This is not the OBS. I see some new things in the interface that I'm not used to seeing. So that's interesting. I don't know what's really going on there, but anyway, hopefully it'll be fine. Welcome back. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, it's good to be here. After feels like forever of being away, and sorry to say, but I got another block coming. I gotta rethink my life. I remember the first time after I quit my day job. No glass cleaning cloth. That sucks. The first time after I quit my day job, I woke up and the world was my oyster. YouTube was my new career, and I had no boss. I could do whatever I wanted with my day. I was only responsible to my viewers. And I went and I took myself out to lunch, a nice lunch, and brunch, really. And I thought, wow, I thought I'm never leaving home again. Except for do cool FPV YouTube stuff, and well, that was a long time ago, and things change. But this is bullshit. Some bullshit. I'll tell you what. Do I regret this decision? The decision of quitting my job? No, not at all. Not for a second. Doing YouTube full time was the best decision I ever made. My wife and children, don't tell them I said that. Oh man. Have I been hitting the weights? I'm looking good. I have not been hitting the weights. Well, I mean, I know more than you. I don't work out a lot, but I do some kettlebell exercises because otherwise, remember that time when I threw my back out real bad, pulling some meat out of the freezer? And ever since then, I've been like, I gotta take out of this shit. These shirts, I bought these shirts, and these shirts really are amazing. They're from CO38 is the company who makes them, and just something about the cut really makes it look like you've been working out. They're very good. So yeah. Do I regret the decision to do things other than YouTube? Yeah. Well, no, but also, you know how it is. You somebody's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you did this? And you're like, yeah, I like that. And then they're like, want to do it some more? And you're like, oh, okay. And then at some point you're like, wow, that's all I'm doing lately. Isn't that interesting? You're like, oh. I do want to acknowledge, it's been a minute since I posted a video, and part of that is because I've been working on this, oh god, it's so small. That's what she said. This is the Betaflight Pid Tuning Masterclass with Brian White. And I don't know if you can see how long this video is. The edited version is 2 hours and 18 minutes. That's where Brian White, the inventor of Pid Toolbox, sat down with me. If you want your quadcopter to... And Pid Tune a quadcopter with me. Oh, no, we don't need to be zoomed in anymore. Pid tuned a quadcopter with me, and went through the whole process. It was amazing. We spent a total of about 6 or 7 hours. Now we got some lunch in there somewhere, but basically we spent all day on a Saturday, it wasn't Saturday. It was like a Thursday or whatever. And I recorded every little bit of it. The folder is, only 352 gig. Wow, I thought it would have been more than that. 352 gig of footage, and I edited it down, and it was like 2.5 hours. I finished editing it last week, and I thought to myself, I got to get this out there into the world. I haven't posted a video because I've been working on this, and this could easily be 8 different videos, but I thought, That's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to not cut it into 8 different videos, make it hard for people to find, drip feed it, part 1, part 2, part 3. Don't you hate it when somebody releases part 1 of a video and you can't find part 2? The right thing to do is to release the whole 2.5-hour video so people who want the information can get it. And then I thought, that's not the right thing to do either. Because if I just dump a 2.5-hour PID tuning video, no one's going to, like, be able to make sense out of it, even though I tried to keep the conversation on track. And so then I thought, I got to record, like, me kind of making sense out of things, putting it in order, putting it in context. I got to record more stuff before I can release this video. So basically, I've been working on this Brian White PID tuning video for a month. Now, obviously, I was also on this trip. I've been editing it. Anyway. And haven't released anything else. So I want you to know that's coming, and I think it's going to be awesome when it does come. He did, in fact, bring me some maple syrup, Max Pro. Yeah, I think you might be joking. Brian White's from Ontario, I think. Vancouver? I think Vancouver's out west. Ontario? I think he's from Ontario. Anyway, he's from Canada. He did bring me maple syrup. That is correct. So anyway. And I'm also recording more stuff this week while I'm at home. I got some products to review. So that stuff is coming. But, yeah. Yeah, the Edge TX videos came out in sequence partially because I didn't know what I was going to do with each one. You know? So, anyway. All right. Anyway, welcome back. I'm back. We got one live stream. Let's make the most of it, and then I'll be back again in like 3 weeks. So, should we talk about the DJI O4 gyro problems? Sure. We can talk about them. Madstech just released a video about it. Everything you need to know.
Adjusted the footage.
Apparently, some new DJI O4 Air units are having problems with gyroflow, and it's not clear whether it's an issue with gyroflow software or the gyro in the camera. I just watched this video. I literally was watching this earlier today, actually. Turning on the low-pass filter at 5 Hertz, it makes a massive difference. It looks like DJI have a processing issue. They don't actually provide the raw data, or it's bad hardware. Yeah. Gyro starts clipping or aliasing, and gyroflow goes bananas. Enabling the low-pass filter at 50 Hertz didn't help, but at 5 Hertz it helps a ton. Interesting. Too bad low pass at 5 Hertz renders gyroflow mostly useless. Yeah. Well, sounds like no one has the answer. That's the takeaway. I will say I've had a couple people email me, and I just assumed it was their camera wasn't hard mounted correctly. That's usually what it is. But I don't think anybody has an answer yet. And there's questions of, if I have O4, should I use it? Should I open it? Is it going to be okay? I don't think anybody has a way to know. So I never used stabilization that much anyway, but I wasn't a big cinematic guy. I'm sure for the cinema guys, this is a big deal. It is possible, isn't it, to use an external gyro. So like what some people used to do back in the day is they would record with a GoPro and they would use the GoPro's gyro data to stabilize their cinema camera. So they would have a GoPro mounted on top of their cinema camera. So basically they experience the same gyro movement. And then they would extract the gyro information from the GoPro recording and use it to stabilize their cinema camera. Now, obviously, you don't want to like stick a GoPro on your drone, but like if you're a cinematic pilot who absolutely has to get stabilized footage, well, at that point you would just use the GoPro. Why? The whole point is you don't want a GoPro. Your only reason you're stabilizing O4 and delivering that to the customer is because you don't want to carry a GoPro. But I guess what I'm saying is GoPros still work. Huh. Yeah. Shoot FPV says Rocksteady still works. That's all. That's often been the so when the problem was hard mounting the camera, the built-in Rocksteady stabilization also didn't work. It sounds like in this case it does, and then that makes you wonder if they're actually saving the data correctly, and that's why gyroflow isn't working. Here's a good question from Don't Touch My Drum Set 81. Is that a Step Brothers reference? I think that's a Step Brothers reference. Tell me if that's wrong. Tell me if that's wrong. My friend enjoys flying at night, but the image is very noisy. This is with an analog Runcam Phoenix Night and Vista Runcam Night Eagle HD. What are adjustments to the camera settings that can result in a better nighttime image? Woof, that's a tough one. The best thing you can do for a better nighttime image is get a good quality low light camera. You have one, it's the Runcam Night Eagle. The Runcam Night Eagle is one of the best analog low light cameras. Okay? If the image is noisy, like I guess theoretically there may be some noise reduction you can add, but like, first of all, noise reduction always adds latency, so I'm not sure you necessarily want that. But, like, what I would do is I would get a light. So, like, a thing that you could do... Now, you're not going to like the price of this when I show it to you. You don't have to get this exact light. This one just comes to mind. This guy actually reached out to me and asked if I would review or do a video about his light. And I was like, I don't know how many hobbyists are interested in this light or whether this is just something that, like, tactical people use. So, like, how many of my audience would really be interested in it? I don't know. But this, I have seen this in person. I have seen this light in person. It is badass. And if you combine a Runcam Night Eagle with this is an infrared, it has both a visible light and infrared LED. If you combine these, a Night Eagle camera with this infrared, it is fantastic. I wonder if there's somewhere that he has, does he have on his website some videos? Patrios. Yada, yada, yada. Illumination. Illumination! Micro Bright, X Bright, and 4IR Max Bright. Ooh, let's look at the X Bright. Oh, it's sold out. Why are there 25 selected as the... Why can't I buy less than 25? Minimum quantity 25. Okay, never mind. Oh, it's because you're buying direct. I see. I just wanted to see a video, though. I want to see a video of it working. No, I can't see a video of it working. Well, I guess I see why he wanted to hire me to make reviews.
Yeah, it is criminal. They don't have some kind of like shot showing that.
Like, hello, like I've seen it. So like, I could tell you it's bright as fuck and incredibly useful. Now you don't have to get that one. You can do something as simple as getting a little LED flashlight and sticking it underneath your camera. You know, there's various ways to go about it. But if you're trying to do nighttime stuff with a low light camera, a little bit of illumination makes a big difference. Now you say, well, I don't want to do that. There's only so much you can do. It's going to be grainy and noisy. And like, ultimately the sensor can only do so much. So I can't really give you like an adjustment to the camera that woof just makes it better. Go ahead, Blenty.
I was going to say, just to be clear, in case you don't know, you can either lower shutter speed, which, is not an ideal thing most of the time, right? We don't really want to do that, but you can lower shutter speed or you can raise ISO. Those are both going to make it more noisy because you're not getting, like, especially ISO is going to make it more noisy because you're not getting light into the sensor. You're just
Right.
upping the whatever digital factor.
Lowering the
Right.
shutter speed makes it blurry, which you also
Right.
don't want. Right.
Right. So
You can't change
like,
the
like you're
aperture
saying,
because these cameras
yeah,
have
like you're
fixed
saying,
aperture.
you're basically limited on the physical amount of light that can get into the camera, and so you either need a bigger sensor or some bigger port into, like that. That's the only way you're going to.
Correct. So the camera may have a setting like noise reduction that could clean the image up, but like in some ways, artificial noise reduction makes the image look better, but actually, like, there's the information's either there or it's not. You can smooth it out, but like sometimes yeah.
One
Go ahead,
weird thing
Lindsay.
I'll say is just based on what we were saying, if you're getting enough brightness in the image, but the only concern is noise, you can turn down the ISO. Like don't forget that, you may be overamping the brightness. If you knock the ISO down one, you may lose the noise, but not lose as much brightness as you think. Just in case you're not tweaking that or you're not paying attention, just
if it's
consider
like
doing that.
if it's like twilight and it's already sort of plenty bright, if you turn the brightness down just a little bit, or turn the ISO down just a little bit, then you'll get a cleaner image. It'll be a darker image, but maybe it'll be more usable. I suppose so. I can't think of a time when I've used like a Night Eagle camera and thought, "Wow, I sure could stand for this to be darker." Like usually, you want everything it can give you, and that's why it's tuned the way it is.
Very true.
Yeah, but Unreality FPV says you could go to a Night Eagle HD, which has more resolution and clarity. He has the RunCam Night Eagle HD. That's what he has. Unreality. Yeah. Yeah. He has that. Yeah. So I don't think you're going to do much better than the Night Eagle HD until you go to something like the Caddx Infra. Now, the Caddx Infra is, it is analog. Actually, it is analog. It is not Walksnail, even though it's from Caddx. And it looks like it would be a Walksnail video transmitter, but this box right here is not a video transmitter. It outputs analog. And I reviewed one a while back, and it's incredible. It's better than a Night Eagle. So it's during the daytime, it's not too bad. This is daytime. It's pretty usable, right? Of course, it's black and white. That's what you get when you get an infrared camera. It's black and white, but it is so good at night. It's very good. So, like, you can't tell how dark this is, but, like, it's pretty dark. Like, those are stars in the sky. That's the moon. I got about a quarter moon. But this camera is making it look way brighter than it really is. So, if you really want something that is, like, the best you can get at night without going to, like, true night vision stuff where the latency just becomes impossible, Caddx Infra is the way to go. Like, it's really impossible for me to convey to you. This shadow here, that's like, it's not a shadow. If you were looking at that with your human eyes, there's lights from my porch, and that just looks like a much darker block of shadow with you already in the darkness. Go ahead, Blinty.
He said his concern about the infra was the latency.
Yeah, so, what are you doing with it? Right, is the question. I do test the latency. I don't think I test it like to Chris Rosser or Madstech levels. Oh, yes, I do. Look at that. I got the LED and everything. I'm explaining how it works. What do I come up with for the latency? No, that's pretty terrible. That's awful. 100 milliseconds. Yeah. That's pretty bad. Okay, well, there you go. I was able to fly it around. I probably wouldn't just rip it at 100 milliseconds of latency. But there you go. Now, like, you either get more light into the camera, you turn up the digital noise reduction, which adds latency, which you don't want to do, or you suck it up. Yeah. All right. Do you have the CAD files for any of the JB quad kits? No, I don't. I do not. I didn't do those designs. Those were done by Ryan Harrell. Quad McFly is what he goes by. What can be done to the Radio Master TX16S Max Mark III as a solid upgrade today? TX16S Max Mark III. Nothing. It's perfect. What would I do to upgrade this? The TX16 Max. Well, hang on. Mark III Max. Okay, that is the... So that's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the AGO2 gimbals. It's got the metal buttons. What could you do to upgrade it? Get a better battery. The TX16S Max sucks through the... It comes with an 18650 battery tray. It sucks them down. 1000%. I mean, don't buy the TX16S Max without also buying this battery or something similar. Period. You just need it in order to run that big screen and so on. What would you upgrade on it? I don't know. It's got a handle. It's got full dual antennas. It's got the great gimbals. What's there to upgrade?
Somebody said fancy lanyard, maybe. I mean, there's not much else.
Yeah. Get it in the colors you want. It's got the gimbal rings. It's got everything. It's got everything. What could you possibly ask for? Except the battery. Includes a neck strap. I don't like... Is that a good neck strap? I can't tell. It doesn't... I don't think it has the clippable removable clip. Yeah, call me unimaginative, but it's a great radio. It's too big for me. I wouldn't want to use it full time. It's gigantic. It's enormous. It'll never fit in here. That's a deep cut, if you know that reference. Good for you. Cameron Diaz. I don't even remember the name of that movie. It's a trophy wife, says Mask Pro 1843. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. It's a trophy wife. It's a brick. Oh. Gross J83, thank you for a $20 super chat. Pavo 2.0 Pro set up the same way. One is burning through the battery twice as fast. No noticeable damage on either. What would you focus on in the black box logs? Obviously, it's the same battery. What I would do, I would hover, and I would look at the motor RPMs. That's where I would start. In a hover, make sure that the all-up weight is the same. I would look at the motor RPMs, and I would see if one of them had significantly higher motor RPM than the other. Or one thing I'd be looking for is if one of them had one motor that was wildly higher than the others, indicating that like that motor had something wrong with it, and you know, and it was like working harder. Like, so what you would see is maybe all the motors are at the same RPM roughly, but three of them are at like 33% and one of them's at 50% to hit that same RPM. Like, look for them, because what draws power? It's the motors, right? Mostly. So if one's drawing way more power than the others, well, even if the video transmitter was drawing twice as much power, that's just not that much power. But significantly shorter flight times, I think I blame the motors. So I would look at the motor outputs and the motor RPM to see if there were any like noticeable differences between them. If they have a current sensor, you could look and see if more amps are being pulled by one than the other. But the problem is that that relies on the current sensor being calibrated, and that may not be true. Hmm. Yeah. The other thing is maybe the voltage sensor is miscalibrated and the batteries are coming off the quad with the shorter flight time, and it's saying they're at 3.5 volts, but they're not. And a lot of times people might overlook that. They've flown a bunch of batteries, they take the batteries, they put them on the charger, and they're not necessarily double checking the stop voltage. So like what I would do is I would fly the battery down to whatever you're flying it down to, 3.5 volts, 3.4, whatever it is. And then I would stop, disarm, let the battery recover, and after like a minute of recovery, look at the voltage, and then unplug it and plug it into a battery checker and see if it's radically different. Because, yeah, these are some things that you could do to try to identify what the difference is between these two identical drones and why one of them is getting shorter flight times than the other. Blunty, anything come to mind? You usually have at least one thing you think of that I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. You got anything to add?
I would just say that there's only two ways you can be losing half of the battery if you actually are losing half the battery. And that is either, like you said, some motor issue, or something is touching the frame and dumping energy like through the frame. Like there's nowhere else that
Look for hot spots on the frame.
Right, maybe like a bad XT60 connector somehow, or like something is bridged near. Like there's no other way to get that much energy like out of the quad that fast, because that's a lot of amperage that has to come out to drain twice as fast. Because you're pulling a bunch to fly. So
Denish wants to know, maybe he put the props on one of them upside down. I mean, I guess it's possible, although I think that's like unlikely, but that he wouldn't have noticed that or made that mistake, but it's possible. It would draw a lot more. It would be significantly underpowered. Like, he didn't mention anything being different about the way the drone flies. So, hey, Fabio Pansera is in the chat. My editor, Fabio Pansera. This is from a jug of water, spring water. And unlike Fabio, we don't have Swiss spring water piped directly into our houses here. And then I refill it with tap water, well water, and put flavor in it. That's how I stay hydrated. Yeah. Jim Fan Hobby says this just happened to a friend of mine. A single prop was upside down. The quad flew for a minute, was shaking like a MF. Yeah. What's in it? It is like strawberry something. It's a flavor squirt. It's some strawberry something flavor squirt. I don't know. This is how I stay hydrated. Is I just have, some people have like a fancy $40 water bottle or whatever, and I'm just gonna grab a milk jug and fill it up with water, and then chug out of it on live stream naturally. Well, our well water is orange, Fabio. Our well water was fine for a long time, and then a person bought the lot up at the top of the hill above our house and drilled a well. And I'm not saying that they caused this problem, but around the time that they did that, we had started having real problems with iron deposits. Our water turned orange, and there was this visible sediment, and we had to get a filtration system to filter the iron deposits out. So, and now that cost us, I don't know how much money, and now every 3 months they have to come service it for $300 a pop, and I just think about all the years my wife said we should buy that lot above our house, and I said I'm not paying. They wanted like $30,000 an acre. I said I'm not paying basically $90,000. I'm not taking out a second mortgage for an empty lot that I'll never use. And then these people bought it and built a house up there, and And every so often my wife looks at me and she's like, you should have bought that lot. I'm still not sure she's right, but she is. Yeah. Anyway, can you make your well deeper? I don't know, maybe. I'm not fucking with it. I'm not fucking with it. Leave it alone. Nicholas A. Maynard would like my input on Quad Studio. What is Quad Studio? Quad Studio. Quad Studio. Quad Studio. Did you email me about this?
There's a link in the Discord. It took me a minute to actually find it.
I'm trying to look for... I think he emailed me about this, so I'm trying to look for the email. Quad Studio. New FPV tuning tool. Yeah, Nicholas Maynard. He emailed me about this. Let's see. A full FPV tuning suite for Betaflight-enabled drones started as a smart tune wizard that guides pilots through a short basement tune, tests flights, reads their black box logs, and writes optimized PIDs back to the flight controller. It evolved into a multi-system rates converter, a PID simulator using real log data, noise and damping comparison tunes, one-shot automatic tuning, and yada, yada, yada. You can find it here. For $10 super chat. We're going to look at this because that's what I do. But there's times when I feel a little bit dirty because, like, this is going to probably drive a lot of traffic to your site, and this is a paid thing, so you have to have a license. So I feel like in exchange for a $10 super chat, you're going to, like, probably make way more than that in licenses. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel a little bit dirty. But let's look at it. I'm curious. What if I talk shit about it, though? Haha! That'll teach you. Did you send me a license? Hang on. I think he sent me a license. Quad Studio. No, he didn't send me a license. Let me know and I'll... if you're interested, let me know and I'll generate a license for you. Oh, well. I clearly didn't reply. Download Quad Studio. Oh. I have to download and install an app? It's not a website thing? I don't want to do that. Compare black box logs. Watch tutorials. All right, let's watch a tutorial. Using SmartTune. Wait. What's happening here? No. This is AI generated. I don't want music. Enable SmartTune. Auto trim, set the buffer. Use black box onwards. So let's check SmartTune. Okay, fine. It's all connecting to the flight controller directly, so you don't have to actually do anything. Start SmartTune. Provide minimal stick input. This is how Brian White does it. Nice. I like this checklist. Okay. That's very cool. Starting filters, base rates, configuring black box, erasing black box. That's cool. I like that it's kind of automating the process. Perform 12 steady hovers. Do a reboot power cycle after each test. Huh. Wait, go back. 4 seconds of steady hover each. Oh, adjust. Okay, so you're having them adjust it. Okay. So then... Okay, we do the hover test. Adjust filter between. Yeah, okay. Great. Yeah, we do. Okay, so we're doing filters first. So we're adjusting the filters. Reconnect to Quad Studio. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Apply the best filters. How do you know what was the best filters? What are you looking for? You don't know. So that's a fine approach. Start with the filters. Find the optimal filters to get you sufficiently low noise level and to balance the filter delay versus noise. And then we'll do the PID. Heavy, yaw, roll, and pitch. 8 seconds each. Adjust damping. He's starting with D-gain tuning, which is also how Brian White does it, for the record. Brian White tunes D-gain first by looking at noise level. Yada, yada, yada. Thank you. Yes, yes, we know. Okay. And then is it going to do step response? What's it going to do? It doesn't show. It just says processing logs. Yaw, damping, waveform, yaw, throttle. What is it doing? Just automatically apply the best PID. So here's the thing. That's fine. That's all fine. There's nothing inherently... Like, I like this better than some of the tools I've seen where it just kind of take one flight, dump it into AI, and AI's like, raise your P gain. Like, an approach like this, which is very similar to the approach used by Brian White and PID Toolbox, where you change the slider, you fly. You change the slider, you fly. You change the slider, you fly. And then you look at that and you pick the best. That's a fine approach. And the general order of operations that I see in this video matches what makes sense to me. And also, I'll keep referring back to Brian White, who I will... if it's between you and Brian White on something PID tuning related, well, he probably knows more than you because he has more experience tuning real drones. He says he's tuned probably thousands of drones in real life, and that goes a long way with me. But ultimately, any tool, like, it has to be repeatable and it has to be verifiable. So when you run these tests and pick the best PIDs, how are we going to, like, subjectively, pardon my cussing, how are we going to know that, like, you picked the best PIDs? How do we know if you made things better? Now, if the goal is, well, I have my customers say that it's better. They like, well, okay, a lot of people load a Betaflight preset, and the Betaflight preset is generic, and they like the way it flies better. Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? They're happy. Hey, if you're happy, more power to you, right? But, like, for me to feel confident that whatever is happening under the hood... See, here's the thing. Brian White hand-coded all of PID Toolbox. He knows exactly what it does. It does, and he coded it based on his experience tuning real drones. And so when he was tuning a drone and he went, I wish I could see this, then he made PID Toolbox do it. And so when we have what is here, I'm guessing vibe coded, and I have nothing against vibe coding. Vibe coding is amazing. But I know that when you vibe code, you say to the AI, hey, do this, and, like, it says, yup, I did it. And, like, well, maybe it did, or maybe it didn't, or maybe there's some unintended side effect. You're just one step removed from the code. And when it comes to, like, PID tuning and black box log analysis, I would feel more warm and fuzzy that, like, somebody actually was, like, deep in the guts of it. So, like, is this useful? In an objective sense, what I would want to see is I would want to take the before and afters, and I would want to compare them using a tool like PID Toolbox and look at things like step response and noise level. And I would want to see if you consistently make it better. And if we could demonstrate that this tool consistently makes it better, like, it doesn't even have to be the best, then the fact that instead of a 2.5-hour video of two nerds sitting on a porch talking about what you should do and what order you should do it, we have an app that just kind of steps you through it, that's super valuable. But until we validate the results, it could all just be like smoke and mirrors. And I don't know how we validate the results or whether anything has been done to validate the results. Nicholas Maynard is in the chat. What is he saying, Blunty, while I'm lambasting his product? Has he said anything to, like, no, I've actually validated the results, yada, yada, yada?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. By the way,
Midnight Jesus says
lovely
you can.
carpet. Lovely carpet. Beautiful carpet. And I love the guitars. Go ahead. Midnight Jesus says.
You can insulate against that by designing the domain logic, doing unit tests, etc. Vibe coding is fine as long as the underlying code has purposeful design with proper testing metrics. But I think the problem here is that you don't have the real drone to do the unit tests on, right? Because like when you're writing code for something, right, you can do a unit test to prove that the thing you wanted in the code is working, right? Like all my TypeScript types are working or whatever, right? Like these outputs are matching what I'm expecting based on these unit tests. But you can't unit test with a real drone in the situation. So you can get things that look real based on the unit tests you've created in some virtual idea of a thing, right? But you can't create unit tests based on a real drone. That's like the problem, right? We don't have a perfect drone simulation that works perfectly for tuning. That's why we don't have assisted tuning models. You know what I mean? It's not perfect. That's where I would go with that. Yeah. So just remember that like that's true for code, but it doesn't mean that the code can apply to the real drone because you did unit tests.
That's very insightful. I mean, I love just looking at the interface. I love where your head is at. I think you're coming at this in a very useful way. You can tell a lot about, like when somebody gives me an app and they're like, drop your black box in and I'll give you the best PIDs. I'm like, this is stupid. This is stupid. I don't believe in this. When I look at it and there's like some of the options that you've broken out, you know, ignore yaw axis, trim the ends. Like I know why you're trimming the ends of the file to remove the takeoff and the, like, I can see that your head's in a good place and the things that you're doing are, so like, I think there's potential here. But we have to be able to verify that we are producing a good result. That's the key.
He said the results are validated. If you watch the Tuning Metrics Explained video, it shows you how Quad Studio chooses the best log. This is not vibe coding.
Not vibe coding? This is handwritten? I mean, already I'm more impressed. I'm sorry, I've seen way too many vibe-coded AI-based bullshit lately. Sorry, my cynicism filters are on high. I take back the accusation that it's vibe-coded. So this is what's called a one-shot tune, where it looks like you just take one black box log and it's like, do this. It's trying to predict what your best PIDs will be. Where did he say the tuning metrics explained? Is that this one? Where did he say like how it picks the best things are?
Yeah, tuning metrics explained.
All right, let's look at that. Embedded videos. 2 minutes 58 seconds. Okay. Is there going to be... Okay. Yeah. Am I in the right place? No, so there's no voiceover. I'll just keep it muted. Damping, freestyle and racing. Yaw damping waveform. Yaw noise waveform. Peak stick direction changes. Maximum damping tight reversals and ultra snappy response. Logs 1 or 7 at the peak. So you're looking at the tracking, basically. You're trying to optimize tracking by looking at set point and gyro. I see what you're getting at. So one of the lines is the set point, one is the gyro, and you're just looking for the one that tracks the closest. Pitch damping log 4 as closest to unity. I'm not sure what a pitch damping waveform is. Well, I don't know what a damping waveform is. So I would have to have better understanding of how a damping waveform is calculated to assess the pros and cons of that. That's not something I'm familiar with. Yeah. Well, at least you're doing something objective, though. That's good. Anyway, that's my input. Such as it is. And then I like the idea that you're anticipating what changes will, like if you raise your P, here's how it will affect the response. Like I like that as well. If it is sort of able to be validated. Anyway, there you go. I feel like you got your $10 worth. I got a €6 super chat from Kit FPV. New FPV pilot here from Ireland. Going to be my first summer in FPV. I'm excited to get some awesome shots. Thank you. Your videos are lifesavers. Thank you, Kit FPV. I will resist the urge to do a bad Irish accent because you just mentioned the country of Ireland. So, is Ireland a country? Ooh, I'm pretty sure it is.
You're gonna offend. That's that's a good bait. That's either good bait or that's really, you're just gonna get it.
I always try to be accurate. I feel like that's good bait. It is, right? I've never understood the United Kingdom anyway. Like, it's not a country, but it's got countries, and then there's things that aren't exactly countries, but they're sort of separate, and then everybody, just have a whole bunch of tribes all fighting. Anyway. You sounded tickled there, Bloody. There was a chuckle in your voice when you said that. I feel like I impressed you a little bit. Normally you're annoyed at me when I start shit. A gaming channel. Thank you for $5 Australian. Now Australia is definitely a country. No? Australia is just kind of like the United Kingdom's like backyard where they put, you gotta a United Kingdom is basically like the trailer, the mobile home that's sort of falling down in the middle, and then out behind it, they just got a bunch of rusted out cars. And, you go out there, you're going to get bit by a brown recluse or a rattlesnake, and that's Australia. Is it a country? Props in or props out for freestyle? Doesn't really matter. Pick one. It really doesn't matter. Props in. When you get in the grass and the weeds, it's going to throw grass on your camera. So like you could say, okay, well, for cinematic shit, I want props out, and then it's going to throw grass in your flight control stack. Okay, so props out. If I have to pick one, props out. But as far as flight characteristics go, literally doesn't matter. That's my opinion. KJE, thank you for 10 Canadian dollars. Canada's a real country. Absolutely, Canada's a real country. I'm not even touching that. There was a time when I would have said some shit about Canada just in the interest of spreading it around. But I feel like right now the Canadians are not in the mood to take any sort of like shit talking from an American. So, Canada, hey, whoa. I hope you're doing well up there. Thanks for the maple syrup. From Brian White. Thank you for Brian White. And, no, it's all good. It's all good over here. I'm looking for an FPV to capture airplanes on takeoff, landing, and flight. Speed, about 160 kilometers per hour. Stability and runtime are key. Looking at the iFlight Evoke F5. Thoughts or suggestions? That's a terrible choice. Do not do that. What's that?
Real quick, he said, for context, he's a marketing manager for an airline, and he's seasoned with drone work, but he needs speed to capture better content. Right. So here's yeah. So that's 90. I just wanted to check because I don't kilometer very often. 160 kph is about 100 miles an hour. So here's your problem.
Oh, you were saying like from a safety perspective, Blunty. Like this guy, like I just assumed tacitly that he had permission to do this and didn't even go to the safety thing. Yeah, obviously, don't be flying drones near airplanes without permission and precautions and yada yada yada. 100 miles an hour. A 5-inch drone will go 100 miles an hour, not for very long. It's going to suck the battery down. A 5-inch drone is absolutely the wrong tool for this job. Even if you put a big battery on it to go that fast, those little props are just working too freaking hard. This is a very specialized piece of equipment. So you have to go fast. And by the way, not all 5-inch drones will go 100 miles an hour, like out of the box. I'm not convinced that the iFlight Evoke F5 will go 100 miles an hour out of the box. I'm convinced it'll go 70. And by the way, I apologize. I'm talking miles an hour. You were talking kph. And that's just, suck it, I guess is what I'm saying. America. But you see what I'm getting at. It'll go 60, 70, 75, no problem. Maybe 80, maybe 85. I don't think out of the box an Evoke F5 will go 160 kph. But even if it does, it's going to be like at full throttle, and it won't go there. It'll be you'll get 45 seconds or a minute, and then the battery will be dead. It's not the right tool for this job. You need to go to something bigger. Larger props are more efficient. And then you're going to need to step up the kV of the motor to get you into the speed range that you want. So for example, we could go with something like a 7-inch prop. And I do feel like a 7-inch prop is probably the minimum I'd consider for this job. If you were to go up to an 8-inch or a 10-inch prop, you would be doing even better. But I think a 7-inch prop is the minimum I would consider for this job. So you take a 7-inch, and a lot of times a 7-inch drone is going to come with a 1300 kV motor. Guess what? That's not going to go 100 miles an hour. It's going to be tailored towards efficiency. So you're going to build something like a 7-inch with an 1800 kV motor on a 6S battery. Now let's have some fun here, because I always think it's fun to bounce these questions off of a Gemini. Just to see what AI says. Sometimes it says useful things. So let's start with, what is the theoretical max speed of a 5-inch freestyle drone on 6S battery? Assume 1800 kV motor. Let's give it all the benefits it can. We're going to go to Pro. Because see, I know about what this answer should be. So we're going to see if it just gives me a total bullshit answer. And then we're going to ask it about a 7-inch and see if it does the math for me. There's a way to do the math based on the prop tip speed and RPM, but I'm just curious. Sometimes AI does a good job at just synthesizing a whole bunch of information. How about an 8S for that speed? Yeah, so a 5-inch on 8S would do better, but it still isn't going to have the endurance that you would want, because you're going to need to wait for the plane. So you're going to go out and you're going to maybe you're going to land near the runway. The plane is going to taxi. You're going to take off. You're going to hover near the plane. The plane's going to start its takeoff roll. You're going to need, let's say, minimum 3 minutes of flight time. So you really need to be able to get up to that speed. Good. Pitch speed, that's correct. I usually assume that AI is doing basic arithmetic correctly. Maximum RPM, pitch speed, 22.2 volts, sure. What's that?
Can I say?
Yeah.
You should never assume that it's doing arithmetic correctly. It's very bad at arithmetic. But typically, Gemini will run it through a Python program, which I don't know.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. These days, I assume that all large language models are running arithmetic. Like when Gemini shows me a formula like this, I assume that it's running it through Python. It's not just using the LLM to predict the numbers. That's what I meant. No, the LLMs themselves are terrible at numbers. So this is already bullshit. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, you got me. This is bullshit. I was about to say. Yep. Voltage sag, sure. Aerodynamic drag, absolutely. Okay, so give me the real number. The real world expectation, 85 to 110. That's actually about right. I think that the high end is probably a little high, but I just said a 5-inch drone. I feel like saying 85 to 110 is not a complete bullshit answer. Okay, so now I want a 7-inch drone to go 100 miles per hour on 6S. What motor KV will achieve that? All right. So now let's see if it backs the number out correctly. Yeah, this is, while it works, we'll go back. This is all basically right. To take the prop speed, and then it gives a percentage, 75 to 85%. That's about right. That tracks with my experience. Voltage sag, like everything it's done here is pretty correct. Okay, and it's designing a calculator. Oh, it's constructing a JSON widget. Well, la-di-da. Yes, that's correct. High kV motor. You're going to... No, that's not true. I can just use a bigger motor. So here it has made the mistake of equating torque to kV. That is not true. I can just do a 30 millimeter motor at 1800 kV and it'll spin that prop no problem. But I'm not going to argue. Reverse engineering, calculate required RPM, a low pitch prop. Well, low pitch prop for high. You're probably usually going to want a higher pitch prop for high speed because the prop will unload in flight. 1300 kV. That is not correct. I don't buy that. No, don't agree. Do not agree. I would definitely do higher kV. But maybe the high pitch prop would. So again, it's equating kV with torque. That is now. Oh, good for you. That is correct. No, that's correct. At least 28 or 6.5. I would probably go with a 29 or 30 millimeter motor, but you're not wild. Okay, so like here's what I would do. Just as a starting point, go with a 7-inch prop. Probably want a bi-blade, although bi-blades sometimes are harder to balance than tri-blades. But a bi-blade will usually achieve higher RPM and higher top speeds than a tri-blade. Not always. You're going to have to do some experimentation with props. And I would get like a 17 or 1800 kV motor in the 30 millimeter size class if you can find one. And then if you get too much speed and voltage sag, just use Betaflight's motor output limit to throttle it down. And you're going to need a healthy battery because you're going to draw a lot of current. But that's about where I would be, just if I wanted to approach this problem. Oh, that's not right. There you go. Definitely do not buy the Evoke F5 V3. That will not do what you want, in my opinion. It may hit that top speed. It might not. But it's possible it'll hit the top speed. But it won't do it for long enough to be really useful. You're just going to be dead battery. Yeah. And the problem you're going to run into is that as you go to larger props, you're going to have a harder and harder time finding the high enough kV motor to achieve the top speed. So you're sort of riding the edge there. But like 7-inch props would be the minimum. If I could get 100 miles an hour out of an 8 or a 10-inch prop, you would get even longer flight times. But now you're building a more expensive drone, you're having a bigger battery, etc. 7-inch on 8S would be interesting. This is a good application for a higher voltage. Because higher voltage gives you essentially get away with using higher kV motors without the downsides of using higher kV motors when you go from like 4S to 6S or 6S to 8S. So doing something like 1500 kV on 8S would be like really good, potentially. Like that might be like actually the way to go. Like a 1500 kV 29 millimeter or 30 millimeter motor on 8S could be the one. It's going to take some testing. But that's where you should start your testing. A 7-inch with like 15 to 1700 kV motors. And then refine from there, not a 5-inch. Okay. Danish says I'm doing 90 on my 8-inch for about 6 minutes. What motors are you using, Danish? The problem with larger drones is size and weight. For safety reasons, I'm hesitant. Look, man, if you're going to crash a 5-inch drone into a plane, it's going to be just as bad as if you crashed a 7-inch drone into a plane. The minute that drone makes contact with the plane, you are in a world of paperwork. No one is going to give a fuck how big that drone was, whether you crashed a 5-inch or a 7-inch into a plane during its takeoff roll. So number one, do not crash the drone into the plane under any circumstances. Number two, obviously sometimes shit happens. If you're worried about damage to the plane, I don't think it matters. Like, it's going to be bad no matter what. I don't know how big the planes are that you're working with. But if you were talking about a human on a paraglider or an ultralight, and you ask, hey, do you want me to smash a 5-inch plane or a 7-inch into your face? I choose the 5-inch. Like, I choose nothing, but I choose the 5-inch. But if you're talking about even something like a Cessna, like a little 2-seater, I think that at that point, any contact is as consequential or inconsequential. Obviously, if it's like a 24-inch Cinelifter weighing 15 kilos, okay, that's different, right? Between a 5-inch and that. But the difference between a 5-inch is going to be, say, 1 kilo all up, and a 7-inch is going to be 2.5 kilos all up. It doesn't matter. And ultimately, probably nothing of consequence will happen to the plane. The plane may get some cosmetic damage. Perhaps it will need obviously, it might need some kind of repairs. But ultimately, what the real thing you're worried about, I think, is just the sort of shitstorm of paperwork and explaining what happened and how it happened. And that doesn't hinge on the size of the drone. Anyway. I've flown around a plane before. Ken Heron brought me out once to fly around at an airport, and we chased a plane on takeoff. Here's the thing, though. I was always, behind the plane or way off to the side of the plane. I tried to make sure that if at any point I lost control of the drone for any reason and then disarmed, it would not have any chance of actually, impacting the plane. So... Alrighty. I got something a little bit different for you guys right now. Blunty, get ready to clip this for the Clips channel. Every so often, but quite often, people say to me, hey, do you want to review a product for me? And I think, no. And that's not right for my channel anyway. Sometimes people ask me, do you want to review a product? And I say, oh, I don't want to review that product. But I would like to own that product. And what I usually do is I say, I will not put a video out on my main channel. I will not waste 450,000 people's time making a stupid... I'll just buy your product if I want it that bad. And what I say to him is, if I don't want to review the product, but I want the product and I don't want to pay for it, I say, what if I just mention your product on a live stream? I'm not even going to endorse it. I'm not going to talk it up or act like I tested it. I'll just show it on a live stream and I'll say there's a link to buy the product down below. And usually they say, no, we don't want that. That's not going to get us any views. And I'm like, okay, well, fine. But occasionally someone says yes. And that's why I would like you to show you this product. This is... Oh, look, I haven't even taken the... Oh, I'm going to do the peel. Peel. Let me clear this. This is the AFERY, AFERY, battery bank. It's an 800-watt battery bank. Here, let's turn it on. It's got lithium iron phosphate batteries in it. 512 watt hours. 512 watt hours. So for perspective, a typical 6S FP 5-inch flight pack, 1300 milliamp hour 6S is about 22, 23 watt hours. So like calculator, 524 divided by 23 is, you could charge approximately 22 flight packs off of this. Realistically, less than that because of efficiency losses, but it's light. Like, look at this. I'm holding it up. This thing probably weighs like, I don't know, 15 pounds, I guess. Just trying to think about all these kettlebell workouts I do. 800 watt output. It's got USB PD 100 watts, PD 20 watts, quick charge 3.0. Got a little light. Oh, got a little light. No, don't do that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Turn off. Okay. 12 volt DC output, 12 volt 10 amp DC output, and yeah, obviously it's got an inverter, 800 watt inverter. I've been using this thing, like, I have a much bigger power bank, an Anker power bank that's like 1100 watt hours. It's heavy. It like weighs 60 pounds. It's a pain in the ass. This thing, I've been using the shit out of this in the month or so I've had it. It's okay. It's been okay. Yeah. So, like, run my laptop off it out on the... Oh my God, I turned the light on somehow. Stop. Like, it charges up fast. Seems to last about as long as it's, like, done. Put it on my little kilowatt meter to see how many milliamp hours. Seems to have about the capacity. Don't weigh hardly nothing. Charge a bunch of batteries, run a laptop, run a little portable fridge, whatever. AFERY. 400 watt max charge. 200 watt input from it. It could take solar. You can plug solar into it up to 200 watts if you want to. Charge it off your car, whatever. It is the AFP010. AFERY. There are links in the video description to this. And now I get to keep it. That's it. That's it. I can't believe they said yes. I expected them to say no. But I was like, yeah, I could use another little power bank. They said yes. Oh, Blunty, they also said that that they wanted me to not just mention it on stream, but also put the clip permanently on the Livestream Clips channel. Sorry about that.
Roger.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions about this? Anybody actually asking questions? What about solar panels? Yes, it can take solar input. Hang on. Power bank. Let me just put up the product page. Let me just actually show P010 here. So I have an Amazon link down below, but this is the product. This is the product page. You can see lithium iron phosphate. Lithium iron phosphate are amazing. They're such a fantastic battery chemistry. They're so much safer than lithium polymer. I've seen demonstrations where someone stabs a screwdriver through a lithium iron phosphate battery and it just sits there and it kind of like smolders a tiny bit, but it doesn't light on fire. It's fantastic. Is this thing like a piece of crap that's going to die in 6 months? I don't know. I've only had it for a month. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just telling you it exists because they gave me one for free, and I just want to be completely upfront about that. That is all. AFERY. AFERY. Okay, fine. How much is it? How much is it? $300. Pfft. $300. 512 watt hours. The price per watt hour on these things has come down so much. It's ridiculous. Okay. Moving on. Let's get back to the content. They sent it to me and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be out of town, so I can't do that. I can't do that for like 3 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it today. Now I have. That's it. I don't even have to do it again. That's all there is to it. What do you think of the iFlight SkyViz? iFlight SkyViz. Oh, the goggles. Yeah. So I'll tell you, my first thought is, the fuck is this? What are you doing? That's just my first thought about anything new. It's like annoyance. So one thing that stands out about this is it doesn't have an interchangeable module. So if you don't like the way the module or the goggles perform, you're stuck with them. Whereas on something like HD0 goggles or Orca goggles or Fat Shark goggles, you can change from Fusion to Rapid Fire to whatever. Like, you have the option. Most people don't take that option, but it is interesting to know that it's there. The goggles probably have an AV input. I would guess that they do. And so you could, yeah, they have an AV input. I thought they did. And so, like, you could theoretically use an external module, but nobody's going to do that. Nobody wants to do that. They want to have it built in. Built-in antennas. So they're foldable antennas. Can you take those antennas off and put an external antenna on to get like a higher gain antenna? I don't think you can. Like, I'm trying to confirm that, but I've looked at these before. I don't think you can. So to me, like that, I mean, I'm just stuck with these Omni antennas. Like, I run a directional antenna most of the time.
Does anybody know in the chat if iFlight will ship you like without hitting tariffs? Or if you're going to get tariffs with iFlight? Because like that may be the difference maker between, like, if these are $600 in the US, like obviously Get FP or Pyro Drone, you know, has them for $599, right? Like if they're that price, then I can't imagine a world in which you would buy them over the other options.
I agree. If only because they're just new.
Right. Well, I think they've been out
unproven
for a little while. Just nobody cares.
Yeah, but no one uses them. Nobody uses them. So like, they're unproven.
Even more damning. Yeah.
SkyViz. Yeah, $600 in the US. The not, as far as I can tell, the antennas are built in and non-removable. The receiver has fusion, so could be good. I would want the ability to have external antennas. That to me would be kind of a deal breaker. I know one guy here in Knoxville who uses these, and when I saw him, I was like, "Oh no, I found you, the one guy in the world who uses these. Are they any good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I like them." He said the DVR was some format, some shitty format. It was like, I think it's AVI. Like, oh, why do you record an AVI? So he had to do a conversion when he was like trying to edit it. It's not the end of the world, but like kind of weird. But like, to me, I don't know, it says DVR format MP4. Well, maybe he was wrong. To me, like, it's such an investment, $600, into something that just doesn't have a lot of history and a large user base to like know what kind of gotchas I might be getting into. And for $600, I could buy something that is proven, that I know what I'm getting into, that I know what the quality is, I know what the support's going to be. Like, well, I would say Sky Zone, but then there was the whole latency kerfuffle. So, it's HD0, guys. That's all. How much price difference is there? HD0 Goggle 2 in the US. It's a lot. $749 versus $600. So that's $150 more dollars, and add another $50 for the antenna, let's say. So say $800 versus $600. It's $200 more. And I mean, I'm like, but I'm like, Oh God, it's less than that. You can get the antenna, the whole antenna kit, $779. It's $180 more. And you're like, oh, that's a lot of money, and it is. But like, this is such a good product. The HC0 goggles are such a good product. Even if you only use them for analog. And it's like by the time you're already, like $600 is a huge amount of money. Like if it was the difference between $100 and $150, well, I might be like, well, what's $50? What do you care? I don't know. But like you're already spending $600. There's a part of me that's like, why would you spend $600 on some goggles that, like, you know, does anyone even really reviewed it?
I feel like we should interject here that just so it's clear, the SkyZone O4X Pro had the firmware was fixed. Are you aware of that?
I know they fixed the O4X Pro, yes, but not the
Right.
O4O.
Right, but that is a $519 goggle on SkyZone's website, and they don't charge you a tariff. I feel like we should be considering that as the option, like as well.
$519.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so people have. Okay, so Stu reviewed it. Fair enough. Yeah. There's a
Jones said
long-term
Nils
review.
Vo tested the SkyViz and it had high latency.
Oh well, right. I didn't actually realize he tested it, but come on. Like.
Yeah, I
it's
think
just
there's
like,
no world in which you would buy these anyway, but especially if they've been tested to be bad, like it's a non-starter.
So SkyZone O4X Pro. $519. Black, white, or red. And unlike the HD0 goggles, actually, I don't know that it's not painted now that I think about it. Never mind. I'll shut up. The red, I'm not sure about. The black and the white are molded in that color. $519, and the new firmware update fixed the latency problem, according to SkyZone and apparently Nils Vo. So like, and you don't pay they'll ship it to you in a way you don't pay the tariff. Like that's clearly like the starting point. Why would you ever buy the SkyViz over that? And then if you want something better, and I do maintain that the HD0 goggle is better in terms of features, usability, and arguably even performance, then you go to something like the HD0 goggle 2, which is the difference between 519 and 780. It's like the difference between 600 and 800 I can just squint at and go, you're already spending money. What do you care? Even though it's $200 more, which is, but like you go from 519 to 780 and I'm like, okay, you got me. That's a lot more. So, yeah. Anyway, there you go. I just closed a window. Oh, damn, Blunty. I just closed a window I shouldn't have closed. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Live streaming. There we go. Come here. Okay. That was close. I almost nuked the whole live stream. Not really. $5 super chat from Ryan Sadat. Happy Monday. What's your favorite digital analog micro setup right now? I really like the Flywoo, which is the Cinelog 85, not Cinelog. The 85mm Flywoo is really good. Flylens 85. Flywoo Flylens 85. Either, so that's digital only. That's not analog. That's a really fun little drone. Good combination of agility and durability. Big fan.
I'm not seeing YouTube chats come through.
God
Scroll
dang
down, maybe.
There you go. There we go. Thanks, Plenty. Flying Tacos, thank you for $5 super chat. What's a good 6S stack and motors you'd recommend that can do it all? Nothing can do it all. Nothing can do it all. Stop looking for things that can do it all. I'm removing my TBS Power Cube on my TBS Oblivion. Oh my god. Are you from the past? Wow. Wow. TBS Oblivion. Oh, it's a secret page. We're not allowed to see this page. Okay, how about this? Can we see this one? Back when TBS made Bind and Flies. Well, we can always... So TBS, a while back, made this product. And it was a molded plastic frame that was supposed to be unbreakable. Like all unbreakable things, it did break eventually. TBS has this really checkered history of trying to innovate and not really being appreciated for their innovations in the way that many people feel they should. This is an example of that because, like, is this durable? Is it lightweight? It is all those things. And yet it didn't really take off in the way that you might think something innovative. Everybody just wanted carbon fiber in the end. But it comes with, oh great, we're going to get a good picture of it. It comes with something called the TBS Power Cube, which was a flight controller, ESC, and video transmitter in a 4-board stack. Does he give any close-ups of the Power Cube? Hang on. Let's see if I can find the TBS Power Cube. And this was truly innovative. Zoom. There we go. So one of the things that it did that was really cool was that it passed power through the stack nuts, through these nuts. These nuts! So 2 of these nuts were ground and 2 of these nuts were positive voltage. Which, if you're asking, wait a minute, you mean to tell me you've got bare VBAT flowing through these nuts right here, just waiting to short circuit to get something? Yup. Sure enough. And you might ask, well, if I've got 1 flight controller, 1 VTX, and 1 ESC, why are there so many boards on this stack? And the answer is that they couldn't get 4 ESCs on 1 board. It wasn't a 4-in-1 ESC. I think it was a 2-in-1. And they had the power circuitry and the logic circuitry on separate boards. So it's actually, this is 1 ESC with 2 ESCs on it, and this is the other. I don't remember exactly how it broke down, but there's the flight controller, 2 ESCs, and the VTX in 1 stack. And they communicated with, like, pins going between them. So there was a stack of pogo of pins like this connecting between them, and they all sort of just worked. Very clever. Doomed to failure in the world of FPV because no one will, like, okay, but then what if I want a different ESC? Well, you can't have it. So. Stacked boards for extreme durability. Is it, though? Patent pending. Wire-free power distribution through the standoffs. Wonder if that ever got patented. True plug and play. That's a fact. Yeah. Upgradable from compact to extreme configurations. Yeah. So, how do we get on this topic again? Oh yeah, there was a question. I'm replacing the Power Cube on my TBS Oblivion. Okay, a good 6S stack. I don't know these days. I don't know anymore. Every time I look for flight controllers, it pisses me off how expensive they are.
What mounting is the Power Cube?
They're 30 millimeter. Well, it says 36 millimeter, but I assume it's 30.
It's sold. I didn't know if it was still like in a standard mounting or it was weird.
I'm pretty sure it's 30 millimeter. But like, Does it have standard 30 millimeter mounting? Who's this guy? Who the hell is this guy? I don't know. A little hard to tell. Like, you could always just get some double-sided sticky tape. It says 36 millimeter here. But it says standard. And so I assume that's 30 millimeter, and it's just like they wrote 36. TBS Power Cube, 36 by 36 by 30 with 4 ESCs. I don't know, man. It does say 36 by 36 by 30, but maybe that's the outside dimensions. I mean, I really feel like that's just a standard 30 millimeter flight controller.
Flying Tacos in the chat says it takes a 30 by 30 or a 20 by 20.
Yeah, okay, great. So if we just go shop all, like every time I'm asked, oh, what flight controller should I get? I go and look and I see what's in stock. Ooh, the Xylo Stacks, 116. Oh, Jesus Christ. And then I just am depressed at how expensive everything is. A freaking DYS F7 is $101. Like, I feel like, you know, Grandpa going into the grocery store and, I'm not paying more than $1.15 for a loaf of bread. And they, like, when they ask their parent, okay, Dad, you seen the like the TikTok where they're like, oh, Dad, I'm going to the movies. How much money should I take? And Dad's like, well, I guess the ticket would probably be like $8, and if you want to get some popcorn, you need another like $3. So I guess if you really wanted to cover yourself, I'd say, you know, like $15. You know, and you're like, wow, Dad's out of touch. I feel that way about the pricing of flight controllers. Is this what a good flight controller price looks like nowadays? Tell you what. Don't put anything in your frame. Just quit FPV and take up another hobby, because no one can afford this bullshit. iFlight Blitz for $86. That's not terrible. It's in stock. Okay. I've used these before. They're not terrible. That's $86. And it's for a flight controller and ESC. That would not make me cry and shake my fist at the world to spend that much money. That's the standard nowadays, guys. I'm not happy. What will not make me cry and shake my fist at the world, so to speak. As far as motors, 2207. You're going 6S, 1800 kV. Let's see what we got. Motor pricing actually has not gone up as much as you might think, as other things have. Let's look for a 2207. Stator size, 2207. Oh my gosh, this used to be a $20 motor. I take it back. Yeah, there you go. Here you go. iFlight Zingy Pro, solid choice. $20. Yeah. That's solid. That's a solid motor. $20, you could do a lot worse. The Xylo Stealth 2207 isn't bad in 1800 kV. Emax Eco 2, solid. Yeah. There you go. Those are three solid choices. Zingy Pro for $21. Xylo Stealth for $20. Zingy Pro is a unibell. The Stealth is a two-piece bell. That might give the Zingy Pro the edge. Zingy Pro has been a great value motor for a long time. Emax Eco 2 is also not a unibell, but also just a really solid motor. At this used to be a $14 motor, now it's $20, but hey, there you go. Based on your advice, I've decided to quit FPV and take up the accordion. What brand of whiskey do you recommend I use to drown my sorrows stemming from my impending celibacy? My go-to, like, just cheap drinking whiskey is Knob Creek, but you know, you may have a different choice. No, there's another one that I buy. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find the actual brand, though. Yeah. I'll tell you what, one of the only whiskeys I've had that I just was like, absolutely not. I'm not a fan of Blanton's. I had some Blanton's once. They were like, and I mean, I drank it. I'm not a heathen, but I was like, yeah, no, I wouldn't buy this one. Anyway, Woodford Reserve was good. Wild turkey, get effed up. Yep, that's what someone who drinks wild turkey would say. Ryan Sadat wanted to know about my favorite 2 to 3.5 inch. He wanted to know open prop. Oh, I'm sorry. Tiny Trainer, 533 Tiny Trainer. Haha. That's a damn good. That's a damn good open prop 3-inch. Any DJI controllers with a screen that work with the O4? Thank you for $7.99 Australian dollars. Cluffy OD. DJI controllers with a screen that work with the O4. Yes. Do you mean like an actual DJI controller, like the Pro controller? Hey, DJI guys. Ciati. Which DJI controller works with the O4 with a screen? I don't remember.
Just to be clear, none of the controllers work to control the drone.
Oh, like yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. That's right. Good point. It's only the video output. Yes, with the HDMI.
Correct.
You have to use the RC controller. Yeah. Nope. Sucks to be you. That's a good catch, Blunty.
Yeah, if all you care about is watching the video, you can really do that with anything with the DJI Fly app, right?
Correct.
But yeah, some of the DJI controllers, like the RC2 and stuff like that, are the non-FPV versions, can run the DJI Fly app and therefore, you know, also work with the O4 on the screen over the Fly app.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Good point. So what you need to do is get yourself an ExpressLR, get yourself the Radiomaster AX12, and it has a screen, and it'll connect up to your goggles, and just use ExpressLRS as your receiver protocol, which is better anyway. Yeah, that's what to do. Thanks for $5 Canadian. Going back to the fella who's trying to chase an airplane, are there any 7 or 8 inch drones you'd recommend I look into for airplane chasing? Here's the thing. Like, if we just start looking for 7-inch bind and flies. Let's go. Drones. Long range. Moz 7, okay. Drones. Mark 5 series. Do we get the Mark 5 7-inch? No, they don't have that listed. They used to make that. Okay, we'll go with the Moz 2.7. So like here's the Moz 2.7. Fine drone. What's the KV of the motors? Motor changed from 1450 to 1280 kV. Too low of a kV. That you don't want that. I think all the 7-inch bind and flies are going to have like a 1300-ish kV motor, and they're not going to give you the speed you want. So what you would end up doing is buying a bind and fly and then immediately replacing the motors. But then like, oh, is the ESC going to handle it? I'm not sure you're going to be able to buy something off the shelf that will really do what you want. 1250 kV. See, you don't want that. Can this ESC take 8S? No, 6S. Okay, so the idea of buying one and then just upping the battery voltage to get more RPM also will not work. Max speed 140 kmph. Yep, so even they're saying we can't do it.
What about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think you can maybe find a 7-inch that's built for 4S and put 6S on it if it has a decent ESC? Because then you get the right motor.
Perhaps, but where are you going to find a 7-inch that's built for 4S?
Or alternatively, well, yeah, then you'd have to get luck, and then you're not going to luck into one that has 8S voltage and only comes with 6S probably.
Yeah. I think that like you're just going to have to build your own. If you wanted to buy one, you would buy one, you would replace the motors, and you would cross your fingers that the ESC didn't melt. So, secure? Sure. If anybody has suggestions in the chat, I'm open to them. I mean, it's not impossible that this exists. But I think it's going to be a bit of a stretch. Here is the 10-inch long-range endurance, 8-inch long endurance. Okay. I mean, this is more in the realm of what we're looking for. 5-inch, no. What do we got here? 10-inch long endurance. 200, shut the front door. Are you for real? Is that for real? $250? Am I crazy right now, Blunty? 5.8 gigahertz, 1.6 watt, ELRS 2.4 gig, sure. 2.5 watt, yeah, why not? ELRS 915. $278. That's preposterous. I'm going to pay another $200 in tariffs. Thank you very much, I guess. That pricing is insane. I can't believe that. So what kV are the motors? Let's go to the 8-inch because that's closer to what we're talking about. 2812, 1115 kV. No, that is not for top speed. Nope. No, sir. That will not cut it. I mean, it's 8-inch, not 7-inch, but still. That will not get you up to 160 kph. Oh, he said, I don't know if you can read this, flight speed 155 kph. I don't believe it, but maybe. 2812, 115 kV, 1001. What about the, can it take 8S? Can it take 8S? Tell me it can take 8S. What flight controller is in it? What ESC? 70 amp 4-in-1. Damn it. Damn it. It won't tell me anything about the ESC. Oh, if this could take 8S, it would probably do it. And Secure makes flight controllers that can take 8S. But it's too much of a gamble. It won't say. What about this 10-inch? What does it give us the top speed of the 10-inch? 155. Oh, somehow their 10-inch and their 8-inch have exactly the same top speed. What an interesting coincidence. That just proves that spec is bullshit. They both can't be right. Yeah. 900 kV for the 10-inch. Yeah. I don't think you're going to get 100 miles an hour or 160 kph out of either of these. But holy crap, the price is amazing. That's the direction I'd be going, though. If these could take 8S, I think you'd be within spitting range of your target. That's what I'd say. But I'm not convinced they can. Reach out to Secure. Message them somehow. They probably have like a, I don't know, like a Telegram or a WeChat or something, or email. Here's an email. Email them. Ask them if that system can take 8S. And I think you're in business. Not many 6S batteries are XT90. I mean, that's not true. Just need a big 6S. It's about the amps, not the volts anyway. It's 900 kV. That 900 kV on 10-inch is 6S, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure, though. You could be right. Here, look at the 10-inch. Do they have a recommended battery? Recommended battery, 6S 5000. Suck it. Suck it. It's 6S. Of course it is. Not many 6S have an XT90. Oh, I'm so smart. Suck it. Sorry. I don't know what my problem is. I'm sorry. I think the Secure 70 amp ESC can do 8S. I think it... Oh, hey, Brian White, Pid Toolbox guy. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah. I think I think there's a good chance that drone will do 8S, and if it will do 8S, either of those will probably hit your speed target. So, and it's cheap as fuck, so... I'm tempted to just buy one because they're so inexpensive and just rip the crap out of it and see how it flies. All right. Are the V2 goggle and the O3 Air unit a good combo? Worth it in 2026? Don't buy the DJI V2 goggle in 2026. Don't buy it. If you already have it, or if somebody is like making you an insane, like if they're selling them for $100, maybe. Maybe. It will work with the O3 and it'll be fine. But you shouldn't like invest in the V2 goggle. They're just too out of date. So that's what I would say. Where has your favorite destination been that you've flown? And how does the hobby survive when states or the government perceive drones and UAVs as problematic? Favorite destination that I've flown? I really enjoyed the trip that we took to Puerto Rico with the Rotor Riot crew. There was a fly-in. It was just like the local Puerto Rico crew getting together, and we came out and hung with them and flew at a really awesome location. It was just good vibes all around. That stands out to me. Flying at the first Rampage. Obviously, it wasn't just the location that stands out, but that definitely stands out. Yeah. There's a really awesome park in Sarasota near Get FPV. The trees are just epic. The beautiful canopy to dive into. branches to fly around, just really, really good. Those all stand out to me. Does the hobby survive when states or government perceive drones and UAVs as problematic? That's a tough one. Certainly, there are places in the world right now where the hobby doesn't exist because drones are an active threat, and people have literal PTSD about drones in the air. And so no one would, not only is it like prohibited to fly drones unless you are the military, it is culturally, societally frowned upon. I've heard stories. I heard somebody on Reddit said, what do you guys do about the Karens? In my country, we've had some drone-related scares. I think it was Finland. And every time I fly, like, people in the public is freaking out. And so what you see there is that there's pressure, not from the law necessarily, but from the public, as people perceive drones to be a threat. I don't think we're there, particularly in Western Europe, in America, the United States of America. There are certainly people who perceive drones as a threat, as unwanted, as annoying, and want to get rid of them, but no one perceives drones as deadly, dangerous in the way that they would if they were being, used in a more problematic manner. I think the question, does the hobby survive? There's always going to be people. I mean, there's people right now who manufacture their own firearms, even though it's abjectly illegal. And that hobby survives. Welcome to America. I think the question is, like, I think the biggest threat to the hobby right now is not regulation that makes drones illegal and prevents them from existing. I think the biggest threat to the hobby is something I talked about in a previous live stream, which is, it's an article, I think it's by The Verge, and the title is something like, "Drones Are for War Now." And what this article describes is a situation where there is such a gigantic pile of money from the military side that it sucks up all the talent, it sucks up all the manufacturing capability, and there's just nothing left for the hobby. And I think that to some degree that's already happening. You look at, well, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to be seen as throwing stones. I don't think that's appropriate. It's not necessary either. But you look at the market 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and you ask yourself, what percent of the drone market was dedicated towards hobbyists? It was basically all of it. Certainly the FPV drone market. Let's focus on FPV drones, because obviously there have always been, like, DJI makes agricultural drones and so forth, photography drones. That's not what I'm talking about. That's been around for much longer. But in the FPV market, it was basically hobby. It was all there was. There's very little acknowledged commercial use for FPV. There's very little acknowledged military use for FPV. And then in the last, say, 3 years, and that was more true the further back you go. In the last, say, 3 years, we've seen a big shift. We see the government explicitly saying we need to ramp up American drone manufacturing. We see companies like Neros coming out. Neros started with, obviously it started with some money people, private equity, whatever, but it also started with some FPV drone people. And we see, things like that sort of just acting as this giant black hole, sucking up talent, sucking up engineering, sucking up manufacturing, and just sucking up attention. And I feel like that isn't going to change. And if there's a threat to the FPV hobby, well, you could view it as a threat. You could view it as an opportunity, depending on I think a lot of people would say, well, that's not a bad thing. Like we have the military doing development on firearms, and then we have consumer firearms that benefit from that, and the two coexist. And there may be some stability that is reached at some point in the future. But the FPV hobby has never been that big. And so when a 500-pound gorilla walks into the room, it certainly will sort of swing the trajectory in a certain way. And so, if what you like was the FPV hobby as it existed in 2020 or 2022, then what's going to change that is not a law that says you can't fly drones. It's going to be a $1 billion government contract saying, hey, make us drones. And these drones need to have a 20-minute flight time and carry a 1.5 kilogram payload. And they need to be man-packable, and they need to be simple to use, and they need to have AI target lock so that they can lock onto something and hit it without the pilot having to, and they need to have fiber optic integration, and they need to, and then some of the people who would have made hobby drones instead go, oh, well, I'm down for that. So anyway. AWAG points out that manufacturing your own firearms in the U.S. is legal at the federal level. Manufacturing some firearms is legal at the federal level, but that's not what I meant. I meant the kind that aren't legal. Anyway. Yeah, it is what it is. But in a way, I think it was always inevitable. And that doesn't mean that it's not, in some sense, bittersweet. But also, it's the difference between you're out there swimming in the ocean and all of a sudden, voila, a wave slaps you from behind that you didn't see coming, and you're underwater with water in your nose, and you're sputtering, and you're trying to scramble for air, and you look out, and you see the tsunami coming, and you're like, oh, I guess I got about a half hour to get my shit together, and then the tsunami hits you. Like, in either case, it's not good. But, like, you're more mentally prepared for it. I have a flying taco for $2. We're almost going to finish the stream pretty soon. I have a 2 raw Stratus 11 top speed 220 KS for $6,000. Okay, you're trying to sell a drone to this dude who wants to chase planes. Fair enough.
I think he's saying that's what it requires to fly it. That's all. Like
11-inch.
He told the guy in chat, he's like, this is what you should do. You should just buy a real drone meant to do this, and then
$6,000 though. I feel like you can do better than $6,000. I feel like you can do. I mean, that's probably a great drone, but I feel like you can do better than $6,000. He says top speed. Top speed 220 kilometers an hour. Okay, never mind. $6,000 all day. That's way more than OP asked for, but whew. Okay. Blunty has a website. Sorry, Blunty, I got distracted. I did mean to do this. fpvlinks.com. Blunty does all kinds of crazy shit in his spare time. This is Blunty's website, fpvlinks.com. Let me just see if I can make this bigger. Oh, I kind of like it zoomed out. It's just a bunch of links. Impulse RC driver fixer, Artery ISP programmer, Zadig, ESC configurators. Sure. Just a bunch of links in different categories. That's badass, man.
Yeah, I feel like it would be nice to just have everything in one place and unbiased.
Just links.
Like, yeah,
no
just
editorializing.
links. Like, no editorializing. Rank is based on how many people clicked it, and it's like you can't just keep clicking it. It checks your IP. You know what I mean? So there's like no favoritism. That's the idea, right? There's no affiliate links. Like it's just like
I'm sorry.
It's literally.
Wait, I thought I was getting affiliate income. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to shut up now. No.
But you can go in and submit a link on the top right. There's a form for that, and I get them automatically. So anything you want to add in there, you can do that, and your website is already in there. Yeah.
Crap.
Anyway, if you basically
what about this, Blunty?
If you if you need links for the hobby, you can do them here. And if you want to add links, you can add them, and then I will add them to the site. The only requirements are that they're FPV or FPV related in some way. So
awesome. That's really cool.
Also, I'll just say I'm open to suggestions. If that's why there's a submit feedback button too. So if you feel the need to let me know, like, hey, you don't like something or something acts weird or whatever, that's cool. I'm happy to hear it. And the last thing I will say is that I'm not making any money from this. So if you want to donate to me, there's a nice donate button at the top, and you can send me some money if you'd like.
Where do you host this stuff?
This is hosted on a Railway. Now that I've learned how Railway works, it's like Vercel. It has changed my life. Railway is the easiest thing in the world to use if you don't know anything about how to host a website. It takes a minimal amount of knowledge to get a website hosted, and it is so fast now. Basically, all that you do is exactly what that little thing shows you right there. You put your project on GitHub, you click a button, it launches it in a server automatically.
I see.
That has a place, and you can tie it to a domain. It charges you per usage, not per account. I think right now I'm paying like 55 cents a month to host the FPV Links website. I have another website I pay like $18 a month because it does a bunch of scraping and work and stuff. It's the easiest thing in the world. But I think Vercel is another one of these. Like they're like kind of websites that do these modular sort of node-based creation.
If I don't have a GitHub project, if I have like a WordPress site, can it host that?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it going to be cheaper than my current hosting provider?
I would guess so. It's probably, yeah, because you're probably paying some fixed price.
Yeah.
It's easy to check. I mean, you know what I mean? It's easy to try for a month and load up. But what I would say is you probably just upload your WordPress site to a GitHub and then launch it like that. But I'm sure there's another way to do that too. It's just easy enough for me because what happens is if you want to make changes, you just push them to the GitHub and it automatically deploys the changes to your website.
Right.
It's like it's so easy.
That actually makes me less likely to use it because when you say I have to like push to GitHub, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, but guess what you do? You say, Claude, push to GitHub.
Oh, so now I have to pay for Claude too. I see.
Claude Free can push to GitHub.
I saw here, we're going to close up the stream, guys. But Blunty, I saw a guy complaining on Reddit that he was using Claude Desktop, and because of something to do with the parsing of a backslash, he accidentally started deleting his whole C drive, his Windows system drive.
Yeah. Moron.
And he was like, this is a Claude parsing error. He was trying to blame Claude. And people said, why the fuck would you ask Claude to delete a folder for you? You moron, go delete the folder. You can type RD space folder name yourself. You don't need... And not everything has to be done by AI.
Yeah. It's getting like that, though. I mean, that's what people do now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is. It is. We're finally going to reach... You know the joke, pseudo make me a sandwich?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're already there.
Yeah, somebody said... So for those who don't know, in Linux, when you do system-level commands that require permissions, you can't just type the command. You have to tell... The system will say you don't have permission to do that. You type sudo, which means I basically do this as a privileged user. I really mean it. I want you to do this, but you can't just type the command. They want to make sure you mean it. And so the joke goes that someone says to his partner, make me a sandwich, and she says no, and he says sudo make me a sandwich. If I
put
messed
the
it up,
XKCD up in the Discord.
fantastic. I can put it up.
Also,
of course,
just so,
it's
if for anybody
XKCD.
Yeah, the sudo means super user do, in case you don't know.
I actually didn't. I was trying to remember what it meant. And so the joke goes, nowadays, we're just like, hey, delete that folder. Okay? We're just tell AI to do it. And soon AI will be able to make me a sandwich. It can't yet. But soon. It's coming. And then it's all over.
Yeah, there's this thing that happens, like I've noticed when if you just have it code up a website or something for you, you don't really know where anything's coming from. So you have to ask it, or you need to have it output you a finished structure, so you know where to enter information. Because I'll be like, oh, I need to add content to this site. And I'm like, well, where did it want me to add content at? Where's that set up at, right? So then I have to either ask it or I tell it to add the content. And you get into this weird cycle of instead of just learning where things are at, you start just loading a CSV into Claude and going, you handle it, you know?
Yep. You become dependent. Almost as if that's the point. Yeah, somebody was saying, I used AI to write this this program for my client. And I don't care. As long as the client's happy and the product does what it needs. But he said then they wanted to get on a call with me and ask me questions about the code, which was not inappropriate for whatever reason. And he was like, I don't fucking know what the code does. So now I have to spend a week studying this code so I can talk intelligently about it. And people said, just ask AI to document the code for you. Somehow more AI is always the answer.
Right.
Anyway. All right, guys, that is going to wrap us up today. I will see you again. As a reminder, if you go to my YouTube channel online, obviously, if you go to my YouTube channel, where's my actual channel? View your channel. No. Where's my actual page? Not my... Here we go. If you go to my YouTube channel and you go to the live tab, I have scheduled the next streams for when I'll be back from my trip. It's June 14th and June 15th. And then I have good news about that, which is that I will be on more of a normal schedule for about a month. So that's nice. And the end of the... Well, anyway. No, yeah. This little stretch here where I'm gone for freaking 2 months at a time is really not my favorite. So I miss you guys. But I'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.